Welcome to another edition of Brownie Bites here on YouTube. I'm Daryl Ryder, coming to you from Cross Country Mortgage Campus in Berea. Tuesday was cut-down day. A couple of big moves. Receiver Diontae Johnson along with kicker Dustin Hopkins both saw their contracts terminated. They were cut, did not make the team. A couple of other roster procedural moves. Defensive tackle Mike Hall Jr., second-year player from Ohio State, second-round pick in 2024. He passed his physical, so he is active and ready to roll. Meanwhile, quarterback Deshaun Watson, everyone wondering about his status. He was placed on the reserve physically unable to perform list, so that means he misses at least the first 4 weeks of the season. A trade was made by the Browns as well on Tuesday with the Los Angeles Rams. Cleveland sending a 2028 seventh-round pick out west in exchange for offensive tackle KT Leviston. So some offensive line depth there brought in on Tuesday. We did get to hear from Kevin Stefanski following Tuesday's practice. Here's what he had to say about this initial 53-man roster. Keep in mind, it's an initial 53. A lot of changes coming in the next 18 to 24 hours.
First of all, these are tough decisions. They're not easy. And we work through these with a lot of information. And in this case, Andre has done a really nice job. He really won that job by being very consistent. Really, Dustin's somebody that I really admire as a person, admire as a player. Doesn't change any of that, how I feel about him, but really felt good about the work that Andre's put into this camp and really going all the way back to the spring. Obviously, it's hard to replicate a game winner, as you know, so it all matters. I think the big thing about these decisions is these are ongoing evaluations that we try to take in as much information as possible, and that's going back to work that we did in the spring, work that we certainly did in the summer. But to your point, those are moments in football games and where you want to come through for your team, and Andre did. You know, honestly, those type of things, you can't predict them, and got a strong offer for Kenny. Kenny's a guy I think very highly of, and so do they. So I wish him well. He's a great person. He's a really good football player. But those are the type of decisions that you have to make. Definitely disappointed for Kenny in that he was out for all that time. Like I told you guys, he performed well prior to that, remained engaged all throughout that. So disappointed for him, but he's somebody that I think very highly of. You look at it from a bunch of different angles. So certainly we made the decision and feel comfortable with Dylan serving that role. I think there's examples every year, and Gage is certainly a great example of guys that maybe come in and aren't as highly touted, and you're undrafted sometimes or you're at a tryout sometimes, and there's guys that have been through different things in their collegiate career, and the beauty of this sport is that you get guys here and they make plays, and you can watch a guy develop, and he's somebody really from the jump that has made plays in every practice and every game. So we're excited for him. He's a quiet kid, works very, very, very hard, diligent about getting better. So those are the type of kids that you're rooting for. Deshaun's doing awesome. I mean, he's doing great. I'm excited for him. I get to watch him work out as well. I get to be in the meeting room with him every single day, so he's doing great. It's been a really impressive rookie class in terms of their preparedness, their professionalism. Each one of those guys kind of represents that. They've, from the jump, been about their business, have been trustworthy. We've put them in some tough spots, and they've responded. So it's an impressive group in that regard.
One of the feel-good stories, undrafted free agent Gage Lavardain makes the team and the receiver room. We heard from Gage after practice.
It's surreal, dream come true for sure. God is good, and I'm super appreciative to the Haslams and Coach Stefanski, AB, for them putting their trust and faith in me to, be an asset to this team. It's been a journey. My journey is my journey, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I've enjoyed every moment of it, and obviously it's easy said. It's a little easier said now that I've made the team. But regardless of the outcome, I showed up every day and tried as hard as I could. So regardless of the outcome, I think I would have been at bay with it. I'd have been cool with it regardless. But like I said, super appreciative to be here and ready to move forward. I think consistency is one thing that we can control, and so my whole thing is control what you can control, and then everything else it'll be what it is. But whatever I can control, whatever, and there's a few things I can control. The amount of time I study, my effort, my attitude. Those are things that you can control, and that's at the end of the day, that's all I got. And you stress over stuff that you're not in control of, you'll be in a dark place. I think, just continue to prove to myself, and then give them a reason to keep me around. You know what I mean? And then prove to the other 31 teams that they made a mistake.
Another undrafted rookie, Adin Huntington, also made the team. Kevin Stefanski revealed that following their preseason win Saturday. Here is what Huntington had to say about going from an unknown to basically a household name during the preseason.
I think it's a blessing. In the summer, I went out there with Miles. I trained with Miles a little bit. Was out there with Micah Parsons, Will Anderson, Donovan that got drafted for the Cowboys. And Alex Wright and Isaiah was out there as well. So just seeing myself getting out there and getting out of my comfort zone, being with those guys, training, seeing how athletically I stack up, mentally, and just seeing. And it was a lot of competition. So when I was able to come out here, I told myself before I came out here, Adin, you was out there with those guys, you trained with those guys, you know your abilities, you know what God gave you to do. So just go out here and just trust the abilities He gave me and just have fun. A big thing for me is just playing with a relentless effort. That's what stands out. I mean, I'm 290 pounds. I ran a 4.6, but just the ability to showcase that, I just can't do that one play. I got to do that every play. So my process into that is making sure I'm conditioned, making sure that I'm getting on the assault bike, I'm doing my rounds on the assault bike. So in those moments where I have to run down there on punt and then I have to play the defensive drive, I had that win so so there's no drop off and I can stay fresh and play my game. Deep down I said to myself, maybe this is the place I want to be. Deep down I had the talks, and then, unfortunately I didn't get drafted and I can't control that, but I knew, okay, if I come to Cleveland, what's my opportunity going to be, and how am I going to make sure that I stay in Cleveland, not just come for OTAs, not just come for training camp, but make sure, I can stay here and make an impact. It was just a blessing, like I said, just to hear that announcement, but just to have the opportunity to have those snaps, had the opportunity to go run down there on kickoff, to start the game at fullback, and then make the plays I made at defense. It just was a blessing. Say for myself, just sharpening my saw. I got to sharpen my saw every day. I just got to continue to work on my process. It's not really about adding different moves. It's just about, like I said, sharpening the moves that got me here. If that's power, if that's a cross chop, if that's an inside move. And it's about, Coach Jock and Amo continuing to develop me into a player, because I'm not a finished product yet. I still have years and years and years to go to the places I want to get to, and the man I want to be, and the football player I want to be. So I have to dive deep into what they're telling me, working on my pad level, working on my hip rotation, and just being humble enough to hear that and not have any pride in being like, well, what I did before works, but I just got to continue to grow. I have to continue to get better.
As mentioned, cutting Hopkins means that Andre Szmyt is your Week 1 kicker. Here's the best of Szmyt from Tuesday.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of emotion that goes into it. There's so much uncertainty in the NFL. I'm just super grateful to still be here, and I'm going to take advantage of every opportunity I get and, put my best foot forward. I grew up in Chicago, so going through high school and stuff, I've kicked in the colder weather and stuff, and just being a free agent too. I'm ready year-round. You never know if you're going to be doing the UFL, which I ended up doing, or have a sign a futures deal. So I've been kicking in the cold weather, and my rookie year I was in Chicago, so the wind isn't super friendly there either. So, I feel like I've had a kind of a good grasp, and I've kind of understand how to play my ball in different kind of winds.
And so that'll do it for this edition of Brownie Bites. Wants to thank you, as always, for watching here on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the 92.3 The Fan channel here on YouTube as well. With the Browns in Berea, I'm Daryl Ryder for Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.